Last week, KUSI Sports let you in on Braxton Burmeister's decision to enter the NCAA transfer portal. Burmeister, who's wrapping up his sophomore year at Oregon, is exploring whether or not other schools might be interested in his services. And to talk more about the portal and time is none other than Braxton's dad, Dan, a former D1 safety at North Carolina, who last was with us when the Washington Redskins were finally doling out their Super Bowl rings to said replacement players, and you got your Super Bowl ring.
Yes, sir. It's good to be back. To clarify, Brax is a redshirt sophomore, so he has 3 years of eligibility.
Whatever plays out. All right, so let's talk about what we got right here, the NCAA transfer portal. It's a relatively new phenomenon, is it not?
It is about a month old at this point.
So, explain what it is.
For the last few years, the NCAA has gotten a lot of bad publicity about not paying athletes. A multi-billion-dollar organization, and athletes don't get anything. So what do you do as a good businessman? You hold on to the things that you hold sacred, and you give away the things that aren't sacred. What's not sacred to the NCAA? Being a little more flexible with transferring, being a little more flexible with rewarding kids for graduating, allowing a graduate transfer to transfer without sitting out. So they're giving back to the athletes to stay off of the pay topic. And this is one of the benefits, is this portal where you put your name in it, and every school in the country sees that you're now eligible as a transfer, and they can contact you.
All right, so basically the portal allows kids a second chance at their college decision. If they get someplace and it's not the way the coach said it was going to be, if they find themselves playing behind 8 other kids at the same position, they have a chance to go back out into the open and see if their services are wanted somewhere else.
What I tell the kids we work with is, if something has changed from the paradigm you signed with, from the value proposition you signed with, then let's take a look at where the alternatives are. If everything is the same as when you signed, then go compete. Go compete. Go do what you need to do. If coaches are allowed to leave, players should be allowed to leave, okay? This is one of the steps that's done it.
So back in the day, the recruiter would come into your living room, tell your mom and dad everything you wanted to hear, tell you everything you wanted to hear. As soon as your name dried on the letter of intent, you became an indentured servant. Sure, they gave you the college education, so you're being paid technically, but let's not digress. They basically could make you play whatever position you want behind anybody you wanted, and your options were limited. Now you can, without the coach's permission, become a free agent technically.
Well, let's look at the differences. Back then, you would have to go ask a coach permission. You knew you were going to sit out for at least a full year, 2 years if it was in a conference, okay? You did not have information flowing your way. You didn't know what the next school down and the next school over. The only thing you saw was what was in the newspaper. So you got a glimpse of them once every week or two. Now there's practice report. These kids know what's going on in programs. Okay? They know if their opportunity at this program is dried up or something's changed, and they can see opportunity elsewhere. Now, with the whole system working in their favor, they can start looking. And that's why transferring has become a very vogue thing to do.
Isn't the downside of this portal, say you're playing for Rocky Long on the Mesa, and you have a good freshman year at playing for the Aztecs, and suddenly Alabama's interested in your services, and you technically could go through the portal and play for Nick Saban, right?
You technically could, but most schools are not. There's not going to be recruiting of athletes on other teams. There's going to be information and knowledge of where they may want to go, but there's not going to be an Alabama coach calling a San Diego State kid and saying,
You think?
I would put my money on that.
Boy, well, all right, so let's talk about Braxton. Where's he going to end up?
Braxton made me swear before I came here we were going to talk about transfers. I can tell you he does have multiple offers. He has FCS, he has FBS, he has junior college, he has whatever. He'll make a decision in the near future.
No initials? Are we going to hear about it on KUSI first? How about that?
I'm sure Braxton will make you the first to know.
He's not the only Silver Pigskin finalist to be using this option. Earlier in the year, Mr. Tuttle, who committed to Utah as a junior or in high school, has already went through the portal, and now we hear he's at Indiana.
The report is that he is enrolled in Indiana, and that's where he'll be. And once again, San Diego kid, wish him nothing but the best of luck. Very talented. Let's see what happens.
I watched that video of the Utah game against Northwestern. I was thinking to myself, boy, the Utah Utes could use Jack Tuttle. What happened there?
I think it was really I think Jack was a long-term plan there, but I think the way they were running that offense, the second quarterback needed to look more like the first quarterback, meaning they were running a true dual threat, and it made sense for them to have their backup quarterback be the type of player the starter was.
So getting back to the reason why this is all happening is the NCAA wants to throw water on that conversation of paying the athletes. Do you think all of a sudden there's all these professional football leagues popping up, the AAF and the other professional options that are giving kids an option that maybe don't want to go through college? Do you think that also influences this? Or do you think it's all about money?
I think there's enough great players out there that it's always been known there should be a second league. I think that if this new Alliance League can give certain athletes who aren't meant for college a chance to showcase for the NFL, I think that would be great as well. But there's not only Alliance, there's another league coming. I mean, there's multiple spring leagues.
Speaking of which, there's also going to be an arena league. You know a little something about that.
I do.
How is Bert Grossman going to fare as the new head coach of the strike force?
If Bert Grossman surrounds himself with arena football people, because it really is a different game. It is football in a phone booth, and it's not anything like the big field. If he surrounds himself with the right people, he'll do fantastic.
And you played, right?
Yes, I did.
You were like the second pick overall in the 88.
Second pick in the draft, yeah.
So what's your fondest memory of playing arena football?
Any game where you can throw dudes up against the board, and it was just fun. You know, when I was trying to play in the NFL, I could have been cut at any minute. When I was playing in arena football, I knew I'd be there the next week. That was probably the most fun of it.
All right, so just speaking about quarterbacks, because that's your business, you know, Kyler Murray's entering the NFL draft. At least for now, it looks like he's foregoing his senior year at Oklahoma. He's foregoing the big money from the Oakland A's. How do his skills translate to the NFL game?
The NFL game's changed so much that a guy like him who has the ability to read defenses, change angles. We talked a little earlier today about the throwing motions and the type of motion you need to have with your arc stroke to be able to compete. He's got everything he could possibly need.
Bigger bust or better than Baker? Will he be better?
Well, first of all, I think Baker had an excellent rookie year, and he did some great things in Cleveland. I think it'll be along the same path. I mean, they both come from the same program. They're both trained the same way. Both dynamic athletes. Baker reads a little better. Kyler's a little more athletic.
Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, now suddenly the mobile quarterbacks in vogue, and Mahomes to a certain extent. Are we seeing the last of the traditional drop-back thrower, the last of the Rivers, the last of the Brady?
I think there will always be a place in the game for the traditional drop-back thrower, and there's going to be coaches that favor that. But as the game becomes more horizontal and less vertical and more spread the field, those skills and that athleticism, you're going to see them used more and more.
All right, we're going to just jump ahead to high school coaches. There's going to be some big high school coaching news later this week. We'll talk more about that later. But your thoughts, the level of coaching in Southern California, is it as good as I think it is?
I think the Southern California coaching is phenomenal. I think to be specific, in the San Diego area, I think you've got your big programs who have had stability in the position and a lot of success. You had Cathedral, Helix. The guy at La Costa Candy did a great job this year. You know, I myself really love what Bishops and La Jolla Country Day and El Cajon Christian and the smaller schools do. But I think whatever level you play at in San Diego, you can't come tell me you're not going to play in college because of coaching. Coaching is not the issue.
Again, we only got to half of the stuff. You're coming back. Tonight on the ASR, 6 prep stops. Maddie Sinclair will join us live from Vista. She introduces us to a special young basketball player. 5 p.m. newscast is sadly concluded. The 6 p.m. newscast is about to begin.